I'm going to call the meeting to order. It is 7:03. And before we get started with more exciting things, I do need a motion to approve the agenda for the meeting. Peter,
Second.
Lisa, all in favor? Aye. And then I have to do the most important thing before I hand it off. Just if you are not familiar with the room, please notice the fire exits. There are some behind you and one off to my left. So I wanted to make sure I didn't forget. But we're excited to have a number of students, both athletes and musicians, with us today. And we are going to recognize the different groups. And I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Provenzano.
I think we're going to start off right off the bat, shifting gears a little bit, because when you're working with musicians, we're doing a little improv, and they're really interested. I have Bill Tiberio here, who is going to be introducing some amazing students, and I think they're going to do a little performance, and then I'll hand it over to Mr. Forsgren to do some recognitions.
Thank you so much. First of all, congratulations to all this. I'll lean down here because I have no idea how loud this thing is or not. I'll just come down. Congratulations to all. I can. All right, I can take it with me. Take it with me. My name is Bill Tiberio, and I'm a proud music teacher here now, 40 years in the schools, and really, really proud of these students that we're recognizing tonight, as well as the student athletes that are here. Really great to be here in December and have a chance to recognize the kids for things that are happening in and outside the schools. The students are going to play just a real brief holiday tune, like literally 60 seconds, maybe less, and then I'll introduce their names and tell you why they're here. Thank you. I really think that every board meeting should start with music. I'm just saying we could have a combo here every time. But the students that are here were recognized by New York State through a competitive audition at the end of last year, where every school in New York State sends representatives of their school who prepare a solo, and they play a state audition, and then from those thousands of kids, they choose an ensemble in concert band, in orchestra, in choir, and in jazz band that performs at the Eastman School of Music at the State Music Conference in December. So they just had that concert about 2 weeks ago. They had the opportunity to play at Eastman Theater, which is an incredible experience in and of itself. And so it's the highest honor that our students are able to achieve at this level in high school. And I want to thank the board and superintendent and the people behind this, because you have, I hope you know this, but you supported their efforts financially as well. So many districts aren't able to do that, and you were able to do that for our students, and we're really grateful for that. I know their families are grateful as well. And so real quickly, we have Anna Krupenbacher on violin, Liam Yusko on tuba, Evan Preston on trumpet, Cora Polanski is a vocalist, and Aiden Connor, a vocalist as well. We also, one of our students wasn't able to be here, Olivia Finkbeiner on French horn. She's working tonight, and her mom is actually a student in the district as well. So we had 6 students that were part of this. And again, we're so grateful to the board, to the administration, and to the community. So thank you so much for letting us come.
Yep, and I'm looking for Mr. Hilliard.
There he is. All right. Well, thank you very much to our talented musicians and to the whole entire music staff. Mr. Tiberio, thanks for all that you guys give, having wonderful concerts. blessing us all with many seasonal, joyful performances. And I am going to now turn this over to Mr. Forsgren, who's going to talk a little bit about the volleyball lacrosse and volleyball championships that we recently experienced, and we'll be transitioning.
Yeah, thank you. I think it's amazing, besides having the amazing musicians who are state champions, and one way that we have 3 champion teams among us. And as I was thinking about it, my mind went, and some of you in here are as old as me and can remember, right, the Miracle on Ice. And I was thinking about the movie that stars Kurt Russell, and there's a scene in there where the young team is playing an international hockey game, and those who aren't on the ice, the players are sitting on the sideline, and they're looking around the audience looking for, candidly, girls that they think they could impress, right? But Kurt Russell, who's playing the coach, is really starting to fume as he watches these players, because they're not paying attention to the game. They're not learning about the opposition and what their weaknesses and strengths might be. They're not learning from other players about techniques and skills and how they could improve. And he really fumes. Now, I'm not a fan of how he handles it, and I won't go that way in the movie necessarily, but he manages, obviously, to make a championship team out of these young individuals. And so it makes you think, what does it take to create a championship team? I'm no coach. I don't necessarily have an answer to that. But to me, it's amazing that you can take diverse individuals and bring them together, that this talent of the one becomes a whole, and they accomplish incredible things. They learn to trust and to be selfless, right? They learn to, sorry, I had to write them some of these, commitments and encouragement for each other. And I'm not a coach, but I observe those things, at least on these teams, as they progress through the year and made it up to the state level and then won. So students, it's wonderful to have you here, those who are able to make it. We know how busy you are. You're amazing. You've done amazing things. And each of these 3 teams, and I imagine the musicians as well, because I know some of them, did it while being scholar athletes as well, okay? So all these teams qualified as scholar athletes, meaning that at least 75% of the students on each team had a GPA of 90% or above. To me, that's just, that's fascinating how busy they are. And so we're just thrilled to be honoring you here tonight. Coaches, you're amazing that you take these individuals and you demonstrate with great passion and care, right? What we have is care in our district, that you have that compassion and awareness. You help them have respect and embracing of differences, and teach them well-roundedness. I know there's fundraising that goes on and volunteering in the community, so it's just more than just that championship trophy. It's helping them understand the role that they play in the broader community. So the whole community here in Fairport, we're just so proud and honored to have you here. You've accomplished great things, but it's more than just that championship. It is that you're students, that you're athletes, that you're scholars, and everything. So with that, I'd like to hand it over to he who knows much more about everything that you've done and tracks it and schedules it and monitors it, but to our athletic director, Mr. Fritz Killian.
Thank you, Peter, and thank you to the Board of Education. As I get started, if I could have our coaches join me up here by the podium. From our girls lacrosse coaching staff, Mara Karp, Liz Monte, Anthony Yandek could not make it. From boys volleyball, we have John Odell and Andrew Weber, and then girls volleyball, we have Trish Fergenzi, Maddie Horowitz, Trisha Maston, and Lindsay DeBonis. They were not able to make it. But I would like to congratulate all 3 teams on winning the state championship in their respective classifications. They've claimed one of the most prestigious awards in all of high school sports. They are truly number 1. They can actually finish their season and say, we are the very, very best in New York State. They've experienced great success while experiencing hard work as they pursued a common goal, while having an experience in which talent, sportsmanship, strategy, as well as physical, mental, and emotional endurance all persevered. Everything just simply aligned. I'm first going to bring up Coach Mara Karp. She's going to say a few words, and as she gets going with her brief thank yous, I'm going to get the certificates organized. Student athletes, once you hear your name from your respective coach, whether it's girls lacrosse, boys volleyball, girls volleyball, please join me at the podium. We'll give you a certificate in recognition of our Board of Education's honor. And at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Coach Karp.
Just want to thank you for having us tonight. I really appreciate it. It's funny that you mentioned the Miracle on Ice because Miracle, the movie, actually means quite a bit to our girls lacrosse program. The speech that Herb Brooks gives in that movie is played for us before every single game that these girls play. And so it's just funny that you mentioned that. And we actually had a statue of Herb Brooks, mini statue, that we brought with us to the state championship in Cortland. So means quite a bit to us, and the messages that are in that movie and obviously from the actual Miracle on Ice really resonate with us as a program. I'm very proud to be the coach of the Fairport Girls Lacrosse program, and I'm really proud that I have 5 out of 6 of my seniors from the 2023 team, so they're all college freshmen and doing very well. And so very, very proud to be here, of the girls, of the program. I'm very appreciative of the community of Fairport and what it means to be a coach and a player and to live and be integrated into a community like this. I think it's very special, and I feel very lucky as a coach to be a part of it. So thank you, and thank you to Mr. Killian and all of our amazing lacrosse athletes. So we have Madison Van Gorder, Ellie Miller, Cameron DuBose, Ella Piers, Kate Patterson, Lily Condis, Megan Arcerio, Erin Wilson, Avery Schwab, Katie Malber, Reese Funstuck, Taylor Frank, Claire Diezik, Nina Castilla, Kate Balland, Juliana Arau, and then Jalen Toomey. You want to stand up and come here? Congratulations. Ava Piers, Michaela Keys, woo. Caitlin Frank, Abigail Console, and Emily Kane. Thank you. Thank you very much, everyone.
Next up, representing boys volleyball, we have head coach John Odell and his JV coach Andrew Weber.
I'd like to thank the board for this opportunity to be recognized. I'd like to thank Fritz Killian and the office staff for everything they've done for us to organize our season, and they continue to do for us as we move forward. You know, the fine young state athletes, state champions I'm going to introduce tonight, you know, they're not just reflections of the amazing Fairport families that they come from, but they've been influenced by amazing teachers and youth coaches and all those adults that have had those presence in their lives over the course of their careers, and everyone had a little contribution for this event this year. But I'd like to honor Xavier Van Buren, Tennyson White, T.C. Ward, Sam Ostrander, Pat Lindquist, Noah Mabon, Nick Smith, Mateo Palesci, Luke Sullivan, Liam Yusko, Liam Forsgren, Jacob McHugh, Jack Janish, Jack Bonez, Grant Ludwig, Drew Sisson, Colin Noss, Andrew Howe, Alex Call, Aiden White, and Adam Kornman. Thank you.
And then joining me representing girls volleyball, head coach Trish Fergenzi.
Just like the rest of the coaches, we just want to thank you guys for the recognition. These girls have worked so hard to really kind of go out and prove themselves. 5 years ago, I joined the Raider community, and I actually had no idea what it meant to be a Raider. I'm not from Fairport, but very quickly I realized what it meant, and the support that these families and this community and the school gives student athletes is just unbelievable. So they are part of the reason, and you all are part of the reason why these girls could go out and win a state championship. Mostly also because they're just awesome, and I love them all. So a few of them can't be here tonight because they are going off and being awesome during club volleyball too, so they're all at practices, but we will make sure that they see the recognition as well, so thank you. We have Ava Grace Cedarleaf, Sydney Reed, Avery Howe, Megan Clifford, Natalie Larzalier, Natalie Carter, Waverly Milliman, Jacqueline Williams, Delaney Yusko, Kellen McDonald, Lana Wood, Alana Lucy, Allie Allberger, Mila Bones, Avery Harris, Kira Kornman, Peyton Snyder. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thanks, and once again, coaches and student athletes, I do want to thank you and families for taking time out of your busy schedules to be recognized. We do have a lot of student athletes that weren't able to be here due to various conflicts regarding work or playing extra other sports or jobs or working on their studies. And like Mr. Forsgren said, 100% of our teams were scholar athletes, and we'll be recognizing them in January. I would like to thank the Superintendent of Schools, Brett Provenzano, and the Board of Education for your support. We could not do this without you. And once again, coaches, thank you for just being number one, and student athletes as well. Thank you.
Yeah, and I was going to say you are more than welcome to exit before. You're already leaving anyway, but thank you for being here. I know everyone is busy. I know many of the students are playing other sports as well. So, yes, happy holidays.
Happy holidays, Abbott's.
Sorry, Clara. I was going to have, yeah, I should have had you shared first. I don't think I've. Okay. Well, if you're viewing at home, which I'm guessing there's not many of, there are eight. Thank you for staying. Goodbye, Ludwigs. Okay, so we actually don't have any public comments today, so we will move on to our communications. And Clara, you're up first with our student advisor report.
Okay, perfect. Hi everyone, it's great to see you all tonight. I thought I'd start off with a little holiday joke since we're going into break. Someone's excited. What do gingerbread men use when they break their legs? You can guess. Yes, candy canes. Yeah. Yeah.
Every month you got when you see Claire in school, she will give you one of these jokes, riddles,
Yes. Okay, now to the important stuff.
serious stuff. Yeah.
In the past month at FHS, we began our Learning Recovery Program, which allowed students that fell behind during the first quarter to recover important skills and content. This also gave the opportunity to raise failing grades to passing in order to get back on track for the second quarter. Going along with that theme, there's also been an increase in peer tutors at the high school, and they have been able to help countless students with their classes. We're so lucky to have so many students who are willing to help and get involved. We also had our National Honor Society food drive, which was made up of just 75 seniors, and 2,000 items were collected and donated to the Parrington Food Shelf. 800 of those items were ramen packets, but it's okay. Continuing on, we have 6 high school students who performed in the RPYO concerts this season. We are so lucky to have such an amazing music program here that our students can be so successful and involved in these impressive performances. Additionally, we held our annual elective fair last Thursday during all lunch periods, and departments were able to showcase the over 70 different electives that Fairport has to offer. Dollars for Scholars opened up their applications for scholarships for all seniors graduating this year, and combined amount given out this year is at a record high of $90,000. This is an amazing opportunity for all seniors planning to follow a college path. And over at Minerva, all students involved in clubs had a holiday door decorating competition, so it looks very festive over there if you guys ever want to go over. And on Friday, the high school got to host all of you guys. Student ambassadors from all grades brought members to different classes and gave them a glimpse at our school day, so we hope you liked it. And last Friday night was the first Downstage show of the year, which, if you're unfamiliar, Downstage is an improv comedy club that performs 3 times throughout the school year. The December performance is always a special one because Fairport graduates from last year and years before get to come back and see their younger classes continuing these hilarious shows. I am personally a huge fan of Downstage, and I encourage you all to try and make one of their next performances. I think the next one's in February. And tomorrow night, Fairport Girls Lacrosse has their ring ceremony for winning states last spring. It's at 7:30 if any of you guys want to go and give your congratulations. Up to you. I think
It's during halftime, I believe, at the basketball game, so I think right in the gym.
yeah. And then as we wrap up this last week before holiday break, the school is buzzing with excitement and anticipation for our holiday jazz concert, which got canceled last year due to a great snow day. But students have been preparing for months, and they're very excited. That's all I have. I hope you guys have a great break.
Thank you. And thank you for being my tour guide, actually, when we were here. I was a little unconventional, so thanks for bearing with me.
Yeah, we
Have
went
a
to
great
the
holiday,
classes.
Claire.
Thank you, guys.
Okay. So next, I'm up with the president's report. I think Clara definitely highlighted many of the things that we all know about and some of us experienced, so thank you. But basically, happy holidays. Our schools have been very busy since our last meeting. We've had numerous concerts across the buildings to close out November and still happening in December. I know there was a jazz concert last night. It's always a great reminder of just how amazing our students are, both musically and as academic as well. There have been several plays in our elementary and middle school buildings as well. And if you have younger students or students that have graduated, I just wanted to say it's always nice if you can attend some of those events because you can see just how amazing our student actors, actresses, singers, and musicians are, and how amazing our stage crews are, because I know that a lot of students also participate in that way as well. Our athletes completed their fall seasons, and if you were with us earlier, you got to see us recognize 3 state champions, which is very amazing. Many of our teams went far in sectionals as well, also exciting. And our winter seasons are already in full swing, so we've had many games and competitions already. I did want to just highlight before I hand it off to Superintendent Provenzano that we did have the opportunity, and I don't think I mentioned this last month, to visit Martha Brown back in November, and it was really nice for everyone who was able to be there from the board to get information from administrators, but also have tours from the students. I think we, the best part of our visits are interacting with the students, seeing what's happening in the classrooms, and having our questions answered honestly. So thank you to Martha Brown for hosting. And then, as Clara mentioned, last Friday, which seems like 10 years ago, we were able to visit at the high school as well. So we were able to get information from all of the administrators here and also tour many, many of the classrooms and interact with groups of students who were our tour guides. So I appreciated, mine were very flexible, so I actually was able to see classrooms that I typically have not visited. So ceramics was one. I got to see the artist in residence that I know I talk about sometimes, but it was great to see the creations and just the amazing things that people were doing. So thank you to the high school for that. And again, happy holidays. And I'm going to pass it over to Superintendent Provenzano.
Thank you. Last official report in 2023. That's hard to fathom. Just think about that. Like we're at a critical juncture in the school year, and schools are meant for celebrations, and it's so just gratifying, to celebrate all the great accomplishments that happen in our schools. So many of our speakers already. President Bells Pacer spoke about all the great things that are happening in our school. Claire. Again, I echo all those wonderful things. Again, schools are meant for celebrating all, not only the academic pieces, but the things that happen outside of the classroom too, and just joyful to be a part of it all. As we were sharing the All-State musicians, we'll go to the fourth slide there. Yep, well, yeah, we got a nice tribute to the season of giving that's happening in all our schools, other types of learning.
It's the season of giving and gratitude, and visitors to our Fairport schools don't have to look very hard to see the evidence. Our elementary school communities open their hearts this season for the Fall Crawl, an annual fundraising event to benefit Golisano's Children's Hospital. It's one of the biggest events of the year for us and for the families supported by the generosity of our students.
No matter your age, no one wants to be left out, right? No one wants to feel alone. And when you are a kid or a family in the hospital, oftentimes you are doing that kind of alone, spending that time alone in your hospital room, and that's what we really need you to do to heal and get better. But it can be lonely sometimes. So when you come here and you see that the kids have taken so much time to invest in making these beautiful signs that really celebrate not just our hospital, but the kids at our hospital, the staff at our hospital, it just makes you realize, you know what, if you're one of those families, you're not alone.
Our students, along with our friends at Crazy Dog T-shirts, raised $11,000 to help kids and families dealing with medical challenges. We're proud of the generosity of our Fairport families. Bundled up and ready to share the spirit of the season, students in all 3 grades at Martha Brown laced up their shoes on a very chilly fall day to show their gratitude and collect donations for the Parrington Food Shelf. All while student leaders from Fairport High School shared messages of hope and a meal with community members in need. And Minerva DeLand's Helping Hands Club shared the joy of the season at the Parrington Rec Center's Angel Tree. This Veterans Day, Brooks Hill and Jefferson Ave students saluted and shared their thanks for those who have served in our country's armed forces. The ceremonies are a reminder to our school communities that service and sacrifice are always worth our gratitude. And finally, to our dedicated Board of Education and our extraordinary staff, whether it's through thank you cards, golden apples, or sharing a little festive joy, please know that our gratitude for all that you do for our students is without limit. To each Fairport family, we wish you a warm season of giving and our best for a happy new year.
Thank you to Lindsay Reddick and Kelly Hubbard for putting together those powerful videos, and they are powerful. Behind each one of these events are people, right? Not only do our students get to enjoy it, but our staff embraces it, and they make it happen and bring it to fruition each year. So large amounts of gratitude and appreciation to them. But also, the Board of Education says this is a priority. Board of Education realizes that, yes, academic, what happens in the classroom, we need to always prioritize that, continue to improve and reflect on that. But these learning opportunities and experiences are just as powerful and just as meaningful, and they're the things that our students and staff ultimately remember. We have Todd Frank here, Master Sergeant with the Air National Guard. I'm going to break a little protocol, and I'm going to ask you to take a moment and just come up here really quick and explain what you're doing in Antarctica and what are we doing in these pictures. Let's give. No, no. Yeah.
And they're not watching.
Well, I highly doubt they're watching anyway, yes.
Yes, all fine. You're a pro. You got this. You're in the National Guard. You fly planes. You're good.
All right, how we doing? I can fly a plane, but I can't work a microphone. So yeah, I'm in the Air National Guard. We're based out of Schenectady, New York, and we are the only unit in the Air Force that has what we call ski birds, and they're C-130 aircraft that are equipped with skis to land on snow and ice runways. So we support the National Science Foundation. We have 13 aircraft, and we fly in and out of Antarctica and also north the Arctic Circle to support the National Science Foundation. One of our main missions down there is supporting the South Pole Station, the research station for the scientists. And we go down to Antarctica during their summer season, which is our winter, their southern hemisphere. So I went last year, I'm going again this year in January. And we thought, Lindsay and I were talking, and we brought this up to Brett a few months ago, how cool would it be to bring a Fairport Raiders flag down to Antarctica? So I did a little research, little Google research, and found out there's about 130,000 public schools in the United States, and not one, to my knowledge, has ever brought their school flag to Antarctica. So this will be a really cool thing. Big credit to Lindsay for getting a flag made up, because when we started talking about this, we were kind of looking around to find out where in the district there was a flag that we could use. Turns out we really didn't have one. So Lindsay had this one made up that's in the picture here, and it's absolutely incredible. So what we did was Mr. Provenzano came over to Brooks Hill yesterday, and we just went around to a few of the classrooms in Brooks Hill and had the kids take pictures with it. I'm going to bring the flag down there, and I'm going to try and get pictures along the way, different locations we may stop, like the Samoan Islands and New Zealand, and then different areas around the continent of Antarctica. And then the plan would be to bring it back, and then hopefully next summer take it up north to the Arctic Circle, bring it back, and then Mr. Provenzano can display it in district office or whatever we want to do with it, with a collage of all the pictures. So that's the
I
plan.
could not have done that. So that's great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'd have to say the impact that Mr. Frank has made on the Brooks Hill community.
I actually was going to
is
ask him.
powerful. The students you go in and you teach, and
I was going to ask him one more question.
no, absolutely, sure.
Just
Of course.
because I'm pretty sure I've seen pictures of you doing the flag ceremony with the students, and I didn't know if you were going to bring that up. But do you mind mentioning that too? Just because I think it's unique and appreciate it.
Sure. So last year we started a safety patrol program at Brooks Hill. There hadn't been one at that school for quite a while. Northside Dudley had it, or Northside in particular had a safety patrol program. So we started at Brooks Hill, and we just were kind of getting it off the ground and getting running. Myself and Vicki Capitelli, health teacher over at Brooks Hill, she's my partner in this program. And this year we decided to add a few new things. One of them was we added ranked officers, captains and lieutenants. So we have supervisors. But another one was to add a flag folding detail, an honor guard team. So we selected a team of 8, actually 2 teams of 4, so there's 8 honor guard team members. And they come out with me every afternoon just prior to dismissal, and we bring the flag down and they fold the flag. It's kind of catching on. Karen Vargo is the JA sentry. She's over here, and she is starting a safety patrol program in JA right now. And Karen and I served on the honor guard team together at the sheriff's office, so she's going to hopefully get a flag folding detail going there as well. This will be pretty cool.
All of our sentries do amazing work, and I think again, whether it's safety patrols, or honor guards, or walking students in between classes, greeting parents and families, and taking kids out to recess. I think it's really doing what the board has intended it to do, is building another connection. Because again, going into those classrooms, reading to children, really taking it and bringing a personal touch to it is greatly appreciated.
Yeah, and we appreciate doing it.
Meredith wants
being
you
able to
back
make
soon,
the
though.
connections.
She doesn't want you to go away to.
Oh, this trip's going to be just shy of 4 weeks, so she'll be back by the beginning of February. Thank you.
Have a great holiday. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
This past month was another very important hallmark experience in our Fairport schools. Bless you. If we can go to the next slide. Thank you very much. We had a ribbon cutting at Joanna Perrin's new tech wing. So again, of course, we made a video.
The space is beautiful. It's the open ceilings. It looks kind of industrial, but brand new, with a lot of new equipment, a lot of new things that the kids are going to be able to do, learning from that elementary level and kind of bridging that gap between the awesome stuff they do at the high school. We're going to be able to open it up so it's one giant space or 3 different spaces. One side is going to have a lot of our heavier equipment, you know, because we're still going to do some of the woodworking. We got like a new dust collector system that's going to be better and more efficient. So we're still going to do all the same fun stuff that we had done before, but the makerspace area, the new part of it's going to make sure we have like our own kind of STEM and coding and different things they can do with flexible seating and space to rearrange to suit both the teachers' needs, the students' needs, and just what that lesson is. The machines will kind of be lined along the walls, so they're not right in the middle of the room where they can't be moved or used. And it's just, they're making great use of the space. We've rearranged where the teacher's office was, where we had storage. It's like a giant open concept house. We do some CO2 car racing, and we'll be able to have a full track going through all of it right now, as opposed to using the hallways like we have for the last 30 plus years. So the teachers are really excited about that. It allows our teachers to do so much more with the kids, and that's where we've been lacking. The coding work they've done, it just opened up so many more ways that they can use space, bigger spaces, better projects. The drones can go up higher, all sorts of things that they just weren't able to do. I think it's been a really, really good collaboration with our teaching staff, our tech teachers. We wanted them to have a hand in it because they're the experts in what they're doing day to day. So they've worked with both the architects and our school team and our B&G crew to really make sure it's designed the way we want it to be most functional for the kids and the staff, and that's what they've done. Certainly our kids that we talked to, our 6th graders that will have it next year, and our kids in there next semester, they're so looking forward to it.
Today was a very important day too, to build upon this very important event that occurred 2 weeks ago at Joanna Perrin Middle School. The board is really investing time in developing their vision and their expectations for our new tech lab, or our Center for Innovation, as we're learning to call it here in Fairport Schools. As you may recall, we are looking to add on a new tech wing, approximately 10,000 square feet. And with that, we want to make sure that we have a strong vision. We met with about 32 students today, having a conversation about what do they hope, what do they aspire for the new tech spaces. Not that it will serve their interest, but we wanted their advice so they could support their fellow underclassmen here in the Fairport schools, and we're really listening to them. They're giving us great advice and feedback. I know the boards also, and I'll let the board members speak to their journey and how they're trying to understand STEAM for the future. Big day today in Fairport as we look at this project, Fairport for the Future. We are in the design phase of developing the project, as you see here, 2024. And I'm not going to go through this timeline by each line, but we're moving along. We're on step. And if there's a board member who wants to talk about some of the things they learned or heard about with STEAM, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I don't want to speak for something that you participated in. Yeah.
I was going to correct you and say that the name is, what is it? The Center for Innovation.
STEAM, yes.
Instead of STEAM.
Interchangeable for now.
Yeah. No, we we had the opportunity to meet with Tom Burton, who kind of walked us through some different things. We talked about what our vision will look like, understanding that, you know, we're looking at what our students in the future will be needing, and the space is definitely a huge part of it, and what we need to have in place for students to be able to prepare for possible careers in the future, experiences in the future, and knowing that technology is changing all the time. So it is a bit daunting, but it was nice to have time as a board to come together and not only hear about what our students expressed and shared in terms of what they are looking for and hoping for, not necessarily for themselves, because many of the students will have graduated that shared their information, but more so for students that will be coming after them. And also understanding that we're hoping the new edition would be useful and implemented across subject areas. So not just thinking about technology as one single thing, but looking at it as being useful for all of our departments. But does anyone else want to share? I think that we're going to be in continued conversations with this, so I'm guessing that at a workshop or upcoming board meetings we will share more information, and I know that there will be opportunities to get feedback as well.
Thank you. And then finally, last but not least, I know the board has spent a lot of time, whether it be through the budget process or through their support for committee work with the sustainability committee. There's one last slide, whoever's behind the curtain there. Yep. Over the past couple of years, we've been forming and norming the sustainability committee's 4 pillars: operations, sustainable education, responsible purchasing, and waste reduction. And this is how we are organizing our mindset and our work around this very important idea of being environmentally sustainable, not just for today, but for the future and for the betterment of our world. Tonight, in fact, I'll be making a recommendation for 2 sustainability coordinators to help oversee this on an initial part-time basis as we continue to develop our understanding of sustainability and operationalizing sustainability. So that will be coming later on in this board meeting, and we appreciate the support, and looking forward to developing the work and making a part of our budget process as we move forward. Finally, I just want to wish everybody a happy holiday. Appreciate all the wonderful things that we do here in our district to make experiences come to life. Happy holidays, everyone.
Thanks. Which brings us to board member committee reports. So I'm gonna pass this off to my fellow board members. Would anyone like to kick us off with what we've been attending, learning about, participating in at our various committee meetings?
So I'll start. Last week, I think it was last week, Erica and I, as members of the Monroe County School Board Association Legislative Committee, we had a Zoom advocacy day with our state lawmakers. Very thankful to the MTSBA office for doing it, and for Representative Jen Lunsford, and I believe there was a rep from Senator Brock's office on the afternoon call. Erica was on both. I was just on the one. Really good conversation with our lawmakers, kind of state of where things are as we get toward January and towards state budget season. I guess the takeaway across the board, we met with both Republicans and Democrats in both sessions. Everyone stressed that this is going to be a very challenging budget year. Apparently the state is facing a $5 billion deficit right now. And yet everybody, again, bipartisan, Republicans, Democrats, all said cuts to education are off the table, not to be considered. Obviously, Foundation A was just fully funded. Last year was the first year it went across the board. Now, so that the difficult budget year, other people have done this longer than me. I don't know how accurate that is and how much that is kind of pre-budget posturing. Don't expect too much, but it was hard. That was not unexpected to hear, but it was heartening to hear kind of bipartisan support for a lot of the education things we're trying to do, mental health support for students. Yeah. We will talk about the tax cap at another time.
Yeah,
I know that came up, but I think and then in February 29th, a once in a 4-year event. Bad joke. We're going to be going to Albany for in-person advocacy day with Monroe County School Board. I know I'll be going. I think a bunch of us are going to be going, and looking forward to getting back to meeting with lawmakers in person and state ed, and just continuing our advocacy work.
Absolutely, and we also have the legislative breakfast.
Yes, that's in
so we'll
February.
be able to meet with folks face to face there. But I think it gives us great access to people that can have an impact on the budget, and I think we're pretty clear on what we will be advocating for. It doesn't change that much from year to year, but I'm excited to meet more because I feel like they often are learning things from us, and I make no assumption that they are on top of what's happening in every school district across the state. So good to meet, good to explain and represent Fairport for sure.
I wrote notes, so let me see if I can see it. Recently, Erica and I met with the Wellness Committee. The first thing we did was we reviewed the results of the Youth Risk Behavior Survey, sort of the state of our students, and we kind of talked about how we're going to share out this information with counselors, mental health staff, and then also how to make sure that we get it out to the parents. So we're going to put it on Parent Square or on the website, kind of deciding how to funnel that information out to people. The second thing we talked about was creating resources and information for parents of transgender and gender expansive students. There's a lot of questions for these families if students decide to take on a chosen name as opposed to their legal name, and how does that work in the school. It would be great if there was sort of a resource or some localized information that kind of walked parents through that and what does that look like. So we kind of reviewed that. And then next month we'll be reviewing the code of conduct, and we're going to have a team of administrators, teachers, and students all reviewing it at the same time and kind of discussing any changes that we want to make going forward.
Thanks. Anyone else? I know it was a busy month.
I can jump in for sustainability. We met in November. Can't remember if it was before or after the board meeting in November. Anyway, we talked about a waste audit. Did I tell you that? Okay. Sorry. Impact Earth did a waste audit at Dudley and Northside. And Doug is apparently a champion because his name was just everything on the report. It was like person who weighed garbage, person who measured garbage. It was just all Doug. So he took all the trash from Dudley Northside and added it all up, and it was over 900 pounds. And then took 4 sample bags. So that's classroom waste and food waste from the cafeteria, everything. 900 pounds in a day. And took 4 bags and then went through the 4 bags piece by piece by piece and added it up. Over 50% was compostable material. So if you extrapolate that out, that's 450 pounds of waste that went to a landfill as opposed to a compost. So I know we're going to talk later about our new co-chairs of sustainability, but this is something I think we as a board, as we're talking budgeting and looking at potential rollout of composting options, it's something different companies offer, and it's clearly something we have a need for. That's a huge amount of waste going into landfills. So that went over at sustainability. And then at SIT, School Improvement Team, we have been reading Tom Schimmer, and we were able to meet with him for 3 hours. And the information alone was one thing, but the fact that he ran a 3-hour Zoom meeting with over 50 of us in the room, the LGI at Minerva, and kept us all engaged and talking while he was just up on Zoom. He would be like, turn and talk for 5 minutes, and he would pause his camera, and then had us right back in and going with the conversation. He was outstanding. But really diving into, okay, if we're talking about grades and this is our overarching conversation of the year, then what does that look like? What does an actual rubric that means something look like? And really diving into what is your experience with grading been, because we're all educators sitting in that room. So great conversations coming, and so many stakeholders involved in that process. So it's fun and interesting to hear everybody.
Thanks. Okay, are we good? Okay, so we are on to Matt with the treasurer and investment update.
Thank you and good evening. Tonight we have the treasurer investment update for the month of October 2023. We had a beginning balance in the general fund of $67.4 million, receipts during the month of $66.6 million, disbursements of $11.5 million for an ending cash balance of $122.5 million. Of the $122.5 million, approximately $119.5 is invested in a mix of treasury bills, CDs, cash sweep accounts. Overall, when you look back at the revenues, this is where our large tax revenues are starting to continue to be realized, October being a fairly large month during the course of the school year for us. Revenues, expenses, trending similar. Revenues right now recognized 94 million, expense of about 36 million, very similar proportionately in terms of where we were last year. Most of our revenue, again, is the recognition of the tax receipt revenue. We book that on a receivable basis as those funds come in. So that's where you'll see the majority of the revenue as a whole. That is the summary for the month of October.
Thanks, Matt. And I usually just remind people that if you're listening from home, you can find this information under 7, consent calendar, and it is D, the treasurer's report. Okay, so we actually do not have presentations this month, so we will move on to our board discussion and action items. So up first, I need a motion to approve the attached field trip requests. Brian?
Second.
Lisa? Any comments? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Which brings us to the fundraisers. So I need a motion to approve the attached fundraisers for 2023-24. Peter? Nicole? Discussion? Okay. All in favor? Aye. The next item on here, I think we started talking about a little bit before, but it is the environmental sustainability. So we did just want to comment and kind of call out what Brett mentioned earlier, that we are approving tonight, later on, the appointment of 2 co-chairs for our sustainability committee. So we will be approving it later, but we wanted to just make sure that, you know, people are aware that we are putting a focus on this, and we feel like it will be helpful to have specific people assigned to this task to do kind of outside of their other jobs, so that there can be some real support there. But are there any other comments, people?
No, I think this is really welcome. You know, as someone who's been involved with sustainability since my first board meeting, my first board workshop actually. But I think, you know, very, very thankful to the teacher, to the people who are doing this, and thankful to everyone in the district, Tanya and Brett, for your continued support of this committee. And, you know, this is student led and student driven in a lot of ways, and I think that this just again showcases that this is a priority of ours by giving people and money support to it, and also it just provides that support to the students, that the stuff that they want to do, the waste audit, the stuff we do over the summer, the green teams, all of that, just kind of providing that infrastructure that's needed to support this great committee.
I'm sorry, I know we try not to repeat, but I do want to echo, I think, the student-driven part. Pre-COVID, I did hear the NPR story that I've shared about environmental anxiety that the youth feel because they don't think the adults are taking the issue seriously enough. And that was that many years ago, but now I hear it more frequently on the radio and in news stories that this is an anxiety, is something that they're living with. We're seeing, experiencing some of the effects around the world. So I'm glad we're taking those steps ourselves to you know, follow the students in this case, right? To recognize that to make the world a better place. I think it has a potential tie-in with this innovation, if you will, right? The one thing I do have great confidence in humanity overall is innovation. And I don't think, I mean, I hear of some of the unique inventions being made to help also fight it in ways that weren't anticipated, right? That we must cut this, but others are saying, well, got past a point too far, maybe we won't be able to cut nearly enough, but we can suck it out, right? And they're creating ways. So I think there's just opportunities to combine and make it, I don't know, part of the curriculum, but, you know, for the students to continue to see hope that, you know, it's not a lost cause, right? That there's much they can do to help save our environment.
As Mr. Stevens has frequently said,
these 4 pillars, it's about changing behaviors and it's about educating. There'll be a huge educational component. We'll be sharing information on did you know about waste to how are we informing our curriculum and doing it from a K-12 perspective from our purchasing as well. So we're looking to learn along the way and do and be better for tomorrow.
Okay, thank you. And we don't have to vote, so we will move on to our policies. I need a motion that the Board of Education approves the first reading of the following policies: 1514, 3410, 4220, 7540, 7610, 7611, and 8360. Need a motion. Mary Caitlin first, Brian second, and discussion.
Just a quick overview to really highlight, particularly 7540. We had a policy, death and grief, and it was kind of about, we support those going through that. That is all well established in folks' contracts that, the time they get off for bereavement, and we're always willing to support different members of our community. But we did not have a policy on crisis intervention. However, our district had very well established teams. So right now is TIG is trauma, illness,
grief.
Trauma, illness, grief. So this really solidifies in policy the board's stance about making sure that those teams and resources are at the ready to support different district members. So that was kind of the big overhaul in these ones. But huge kudos to our special education directors. They are diving deep this year into numerous special education policies and bringing them up to alignment and to also kind of reflect what's happening in the district. But it's a lot of work on their end, and I just can't appreciate them enough.
No, I agree. Okay. All in favor? Aye. 6-0. Which brings us to our second read. So these are ones we approved previously, but we are officially approving them again. So I need a motion that the Board of Education approves the second reading of the following policies: 4240, 4310, 5321, 7460, 8450. Peter, Nicole, don't think we have discussions because we already went through them.
I do have a quick question though, not about this particularly, but when we talked about the first read with credit card, we tasked the superintendent with looking into more futuristic, more modern ways of paying for things, which I don't expect you to have done that in the last month necessarily, but just kind of wanted to state that reminder again. And
Thanks for the reminder.
like, ask if you had any updates or.
Yeah, we no updates yet. It's a slow moving process. Trying to align all the policies with the practices of how we're required to manage purchases in schools.
Yeah, I deal with it in my real life job too, and it is very complicated in terms of what needs to be in place for security reasons, auditing purposes. But it is frustrating because it can slow the process down for school districts when they need to do something maybe faster than
Turning the Titanic.
it is. I agree. So.
Oh, no.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. 6-0. Which brings us to, I need a motion to approve the Fairport Central School District Reserve Fund Plan for 2024 as attached, and that is available for people to click on if they go on board docs. Brian? Lisa? Comments? Questions? No, we've.
I'll comment.
Yep.
It's financial.
I'm going to say, I know we've talked about it, but yes, I will.
Well, just you mentioned, right, that each of the legislatures had stated categorically that, school cuts were off the table. Ultimately, it comes down, in my experience, right, to three people in a room, the governor and the heads of each of the legislative bodies. That what they do behind there changes, what potentially can happen, although I think the language has been stronger. But this really is where we get to look to maintain our programs. And I appreciate, Matt, all that's done in the finance office, and each year as we look at our reserves and have the reserve planning, that we can say, hey, it gives us an idea. We can go several years, should it be needed, during challenging economic times. And I think this reserve available for people to look at lets them know how it is where we might be able to accomplish that.
Thanks, Peter. Okay, all in favor? Aye, 6-0. Okay, we're moving on to personnel. So first up, instructional. I need a motion to approve the following instructional staff actions as recommended by the superintendent of schools.
So moved.
Isa? Nicole? All in favor? Aye. I feel we're getting tired. Okay, up next, a motion to approve the following non-instructional and civil service staff actions as recommended by the superintendent of schools. Brett? Mary Caitlin? All in favor? Aye. 6-0.
Who are retiring. Jean Hewitt, Assistant Principal Secretary at Northside. Paula Moore, Teacher Aide at JP. Lori Siegel, Teaching Assistant at JP. And Mary Smith, the Teacher Aide at Brooks Hill. All these educators have made significant contributions, and we talk about all the great events that occur in our school. It's because we have caring educators, as such mentioned. So appreciate their years of service and look forward to celebrating their time.
Thanks, Brett. Okay, which leads us to athletics. I need a motion to approve the following athletic staff actions as recommended by the superintendent of schools. Nicole? Brian? I was just going to mention my excitement for the fact that we will have a girls varsity flag football team. Yay! So, calling that out. And just also, parents and families probably know we were able to add some additional modified basketball teams this season, which I think is impactful, and I'm happy that we were able to do that.
Keeps our students engaged.
Absolutely. All in favor? Aye. 6-0. Next, I need a motion to approve the attached memorandums of agreement as recommended by the superintendent of schools. Mary Caitlin, Brian? I know we've looked at these as well. All in favor? Aye, 6-0. Which brings us to our consent calendar. And I need a motion to approve the consent calendar. Peter? Nicole? All in favor? Aye. 6-0. Which leads us to the last item on here for our large viewer group at home. Just kidding. I need a motion to enter into executive session for matters pertaining to the employment history of an individual not in a collective bargaining unit. The superintendent of schools is invited to attend, and I will just say here that we will be going into executive, entering just to adjourn. So we will not be coming back for any exciting events. Happy holidays. And I need a motion. Brian? Mary Caitlin, all in favor? Aye. Thank you.